Today got a really early start for me. There's rain coming at 3 o'clock, and I definitely want to be up and over High Top Mountain before that rain hits. I think it's about 1,200 feet vertical change coming from the north to the south, but it's a good one. Good morning. Today is May the 20th. So trail day 19, day 20 of the adventure. Today got a really early start for me. Some people hit the trail at 6:30, but I did beat 7:30 out of camp this morning. And I needed to do that for a couple of reasons. First of all, it is supposed to be another scorcher, supposed to be 90 degrees this morning. So trying to get in some hiking while the temperature is nice. You can even see how low the light is and therefore how shaded it is and cool back here, although I'm already in a short sleeve shirt. And then there's rain coming at 3 o'clock, and I definitely want to be up and over High Top Mountain before that rain hits. High Top is the big climb of the day. I think it's about 1,200 feet vertical change coming from the north to the south, but it's a good one. I think one of the far out comments said it's a leg burner. So yeah, looking forward to a little leg burn, but I don't even get there for 9-10 miles. So got to do the work to get there, and then got to do the work to get up and over. And then maybe there'll be a little surprise later in the day who might make an appearance on this video. So stay tuned. Beautiful day. Shenandoah National Park, Appalachian Trail, up over 200 miles. We'll see where this leads. I'm about 3 miles in today. Had my first climb, my warm-up climb, which was probably 600 feet of vertical. So the legs are definitely awake right now. Making good time so far. And the hot temperatures are not beating me down right now. Really nice little breeze flowing through the shade here as I make my way south. So today's Right Stuff is sponsored by the letter M, or Sesame Street would say sponsored by the letter M. And that verse is, "My help cometh from the Lord, the creator of heaven and earth." That's where my help is coming from. Not from somebody else, but from the creator of heaven and earth. And I'm going to talk about a couple other topics in today's video, and you can understand why people need to rely on the help coming from the Lord. Anyway, beautiful morning. I'm going to get hiking. Catch you later. A little over 4 miles in, and if you'd oblige me, I'd just like to speak my mind for a couple of minutes. The campground I stayed in last night was called the Lewis Campground. Shenandoah National Park was formed in 1934. 1934 in the Jim Crow era. And so the Lewis Campground was, and I'm going to use the phrase they used when they created it, was a, quote, colored campground, unquote, because they had to have separate campgrounds for peoples of different races. That didn't really change until the mid-60s, and even then I think it was slow in changing. And I'm proud of the fact that I'm from Illinois, and Illinois is known as the land of Lincoln, and we all know what Lincoln did to emancipate the slaves. And it was interesting when I was in Washington, D.C., coming up from my flip-flop, there were a lot of graduations being celebrated. And here's what I noticed. There's two very, very prominent, well, there's multiple prominent memorials in DC. But I can tell you the one that was flooded with people, and specifically flooded with black people, was the Lincoln Memorial. And there were college students that were proud Americans that were getting their pictures taken in their robes in front of the Lincoln Memorial. The Jefferson Memorial was different. There were not a bunch of black kids, African American kids who had had their graduation robes on and getting their picture taken there, even though he penned the words, all men are created equal and endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. Among those, the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Because the truth of the matter is, while Jefferson talked the talk, Jefferson didn't walk the walk. Monticello was a slave-driven farm. Thomas Jefferson had in his vast career multiple slaves. He even took them to France with him. And while they could have been freed in France, he did not register them to try to keep them under the radar. And in fact, when his slaves learned of what the potential for freedom in France was, he went to great lengths to make them happy so that they did not leave his, I'm going to use the word employ, because at that point in time, he was paying the Hemings money. It's pretty well documented that while he never remarried, he had a concubine named Sally Hemings and had a number of children with her. Yeah. So as Jefferson aged and as he came back from France, he had acquired a taste for the finer things of life, and that meant he spent money. In fact, when he finally passed away, his debts were so much that he was effectively bankrupt. And even upon his death, many slave owners would release their slaves. His estate did not. They owed so much money that they sold the slaves in order to help pay some of the back debt that the Jefferson estate owned or owed. So, I mean, this is what it tells you. Actions speak louder than words. The words of Jefferson, fantastic. I think he had a good intent. He never lived up to that intent. Abraham Lincoln, on the other hand, was willing to put his life on the line and have the country at war in order to solve the slavery issue. I know a lot of my friends from the South will say it was a fight over states' rights. Guess which right was the most important? Taking a water break, an oxygen break, real close to the top of High Top Mountain. Another 150 feet of vertical to go. Been a good climb. Been a good mountain. About 1,200 total feet of vertical, but I'm close to the top. And it's supposed to be a cold spring at the top. Good to get some cold water. Anyway, catch you later. This is from the top of High Top Mountain. About almost 12 miles into the hike today. Rains are coming. Gotta keep moving. There used to be an old saying that 11 o'clock on a Sunday was the most segregated hour of the week. And I think unfortunately that was true. I think that's now changing. I'm proud to be a member of a church that's proactive and putting people of color in positions of authority and worship. But man, if you stop and think of what's happened in our country, people who say, my help cometh from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth, because that's where it has to come from. Because we've let so many people down. Anyway, good hiking day. Catch you tomorrow.